From previous two videos, or maybe more than two videos, we are talking about rules of inference. The rules of inference contain many things like disjunctive syllogism, etc. There are still four topics left in rules of inference to explain. These are the four topics. Since these are very easy to understand, so I would cover all these remaining topics of rules of inference in this video. I will also talk about the symbolic way of writing addition and tautology as well. Tautology might be difficult for these simple topics. So let me just start with addition. So first of all, we have addition, and we understand this with example. Suppose we have a premise. You have experience with MATLAB. This is the premise. So the conclusion by addition is conclusion we can draw from this very simple premise. So as the name suggests, we have to add one more statement in the conclusion. Therefore, you have experience with MATLAB, or you are a cyclist. So here, after or, we have added a new thing over here. Although it is unrelated to the previous statement or previous premise. So we have added or over here. Now the question is, what is the symbolic way of writing addition? The symbolic way is to write this as, for example, we have one premise. The conclusion we can draw by writing three dots and drawing a line. It says that P or Q. Since one of the statement is true, then the answer is true. What is the tautology? What is the tautology for addition? It is simple. We started with some premise, then the conclusion we can draw is P or Q. Okay, so this is the tautology of addition. So we have covered addition over here. Now the next thing is simplification. We will talk about simplification over here. Simplification. So what is simplification? Suppose the premise is, in example, we have a premise that says that Dr. Asif is a researcher and a YouTube content creator. This is the premise. So the conclusion we can draw out of simplification, conclusion by simplification, conclusion by simplification. Therefore, Dr. Asif is a research scientist. Scientist. Okay, so this is the simplification. So what happens in simplification? You just uh, draw a conclusion based on your one part of the premise. Okay. Okay. So next we need to write a symbolic way of writing simplification. We have to write the symbolic way. Symbolic way is symbolically we can write, since we started with P and after and we have Q, so we can write P and Q. And what is the conclusion? The conclusion from this statement is, since the conclusion is coming from the first part of the premise, so we can say that it is P. It is P. So P and Q, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is P. Here I have written the tautology of simplification. The right hand side of the arrow shows that this is the conclusion. This is the conclusion. On the left hand side, we have a premise. The next thing is left is the conjunction. So the conjunction, we take an example out of that conjunction. What is conjunction? So we start with a premise 1. You are proficient. You are proficient in MATLAB. This is premise 1. What is premise 2? Premise 2. You are proficient. You are proficient in Python. This is premise 2. So what conclusion we can draw from these two premises? What do you think? What will be the conclusion? The conclusion will be therefore you are proficient in MATLAB and Python. MATLAB and Python. So this is the conjunction from two premises. You have added, you have made a new, you have made a conclusion out of that. So here you can see that if you want to write the symbolic way of conjunction, symbolically we can write, we have one premise which is P, then we have another premise which is Q, this is Q, then we have therefore P and Q since we joined premise 1 and 2. What is the tautology? What is the tautology? Let me just write the tautology first. Tautology. And what is the tautology? Since we have P, then we have Q, and then we draw a conclusion which is P and Q. That's how we write the tautology. The next thing we have, the last one, is the resolution. Resolution. What is resolution? Okay. Suppose we have premise 1. Either Asif teaches discrete mathematics, or the course is cancelled, This is premise 1. What is premise 2? Premise 2. Either Asif does not teach discrete mathematics. Asif does not teach discrete mathematics, or students will learn logic. Okay, so that these are the two premises. What is conclusion by resolution? Conclusion we can draw over here. Either therefore either the course is cancelled, or students will learn logic That's how we can draw the conclusion. Why this is the conclusion? Since there is a negation in premise 2, it means that this cannot happen. What can happen is the course is cancelled. This premise, this part of the premise is survived, and we have student will learn logic is also survived, so that these two statements make a resolution. Now the only thing is left is to find out the symbolic way of writing resolution. So initially, symbolically, we write symbolic way of writing this as P or Q. Then if we negate one statement, or we build a new statement with or, then we can say that Q or R. Since these two are negating, so we have Q or R. And the tautology. The tautology needs some space. So I move to the next page. Tautology. What is tautology? Tautology is P or Q. Then we have and, not P or R. Then we have the conclusion. The conclusion is Q or R. This is the tautology of resolution. And this is the last topic of rules of inference. Thank you for watching.